Okay, as promised, another tier list after we get CE. This time for Aberrus. I've leveled up the game a little bit so you can't look at the pictures and squint. You'll have to see them as they're revealed. I'll drag them onto the screen because that's as good as I can do with my limited knowledge and brain power. Um, Overall, this tier was a lot more fun than last tier. Not to say the last tier wasn't a blast. Last tier was our first tier together as a group. We ended up going through, I don't know, something like 40 total players that played on Mythic Kills or Mythic Prog at some point. It was our first tier, so it made sense. We had to figure out who was who. This tier was a lot more stable. A significant majority of the people that were here for Razageth stuck around for the whole tier, most of the tier. And then many of our trials that ended up being really pivotal were here since the first week of Aberrus and stuck around and are still here. And as far as I know, are sticking around next year. So we'll go through and rank everybody swamp through S. If you don't want to see your ranking, you should turn this off now. I don't want to hear you crying or pissing or whatever McClunky says. I figure this time we'll start with the new people and work our way up. So first is Blixo. This is Blixo's first tier. He came to us during Magmarax or Neltharion. I remember that's right. He came from Viable, and I watched them wipe over and over and do overtime on Magmarax, and Blixo was part of that. I I then recognized his name in the recruitment Discord, reached out to him, wanted to see if he'd come and play with us. We need another evoker, and he has been okay since joining. Uh, I was worried initially that he would be too emo for the group, and I was mostly right, but it turned out to be more lovable than obnoxious. His Twitter game is on point. He does less than tank damage, which is a big ding against him. But he's fairly reliable when his power stays on. So for this tier, you've only been here for two bosses and reclear. I know it's been a long two bosses, but just due to the emo-ness, the new hair color, maybe we need to update this picture so it's blonde. Uh, you're good, not great. Plenty of room to improve. Strive to improve your tier next tier, but Blixo is solidly C tier. All right, let's go to the next one. We will do who's next? Chi Chi. Chi Chi M. Chi Chi P. Chi Chi H. Chi Chi. I don't even know where we found Chi Chi. And the original plan was for Chi Chi just to hang out, and then once we got CE, he was going to come in and trial after that, and he was happy to just hang out and get his guy ready. Originally a hunter, I think he heard us say that we wanted a backup mage because we only had one, and the other time where we needed another mage, we had to go find the pawn guy off the streets. So Chi Chi probably saw that as an opportunity to get some playing time and went and learned mage, leveled up his mage, got it ready, hooked up with Budamax, and learned how to play. Before he'd really ever stepped into raid for us, though, we got a DM about him telling people that he was blasting redacted in their keys because he lusted on the first pull in Eltheris, which you're not supposed to do. So that's a slight ding against Chi Chi for not knowing when to lust in Neltheris. Overall, he did a good job when we needed him. He ended up getting CE with us, despite the fact that he was just going to be around as a trial afterwards. So Chi Chi, for coming in and doing a good job, you get a slightly higher tier than Blixo. Chi Chi is B tier. Again, plenty of room for improvement. Okay. Next new person, Whispers. Whispers. Go away, film strip. Go away, film strip. Why is it doing this? Okay. Whispers has been with us since the very beginning of this tier. We needed a rogue, needed to make sure we had the DR. At first, I wasn't sure what to think about this guy. Didn't know if he was good, didn't know if he was bad. Couldn't tell for a while. Rogue wasn't great, but you need on some fights you really need him. You need that DR really badly. He doesn't seem to care too much about getting good gear. He's he used World Quest trinkets for a lot of prog, and then I believe last I checked on his Raider IO or on his Armory page, he's still using like a 421 ring or something. He refuses to craft a new one or even just do like Mythic plus sevens to get a new one. So that's a slight ding against Whispers for refusing to get new gear. Just lazy, I guess. But he has really been one of the people I've changed my mind the most about over the tier. He's a solid player, does the mechanics properly, is eager to go out and use his mobility and his class to get things done at his own sacrifice to the benefit of the group. So Whispers, you are A tier. So good job, Whispers. But you should look at getting some new gear, especially for next year. We can't have 421 rings next tier. Our next new friend. I don't know why it keeps bringing this stupid film strip up. Go away. Oh, F. I can press F. All right. This is Buttermix. Booty Max, Butterpick, Body Sticks, uh, whatever you want to call him. He has been very reliable when we've needed him, except for when we needed him most. He made us play with the pawn guy. We needed him on our kill of Zaskarn. Uh, we couldn't do the cheese strat. We were too slow to get there, so we had to do it the right way. And Buddha was such a blaster. He was so reliable. And then he decided he just didn't want to play that day. So we had to go find Pawn Guy, and he gave us a lot of cool memes, I guess. But still, I would have preferred to never have met Suck My Sickle. So that's a big strike against Budamax, is that he made us meet that guy. So Budamax, you've been great, you've been reliable, but you need to make sure that you're at every single raid next year. And if you could also make sure your calendar's clear on Mondays, uh, Saturdays, and Sundays as well, in case we decide to raid. You need to be there so that we don't have another one of those fiascos, or else. So because we got the pawn guy, because of you, you're C tier. But again, room for improvement. All right, next. I believe this is the last brand new person this tier uh, that played with us for a majority of the tier. This is Mr. Mascon. Mascon is if Whispers was the person that I changed my mind the most about uh, from the beginning of the tier to the end of the tier, Mascon's probably the person I've changed my mind the least about. Um, when he came on, he did pretty good damage, was reasonably reliable, gave us a month's notice if he wanted to take off or needed to miss raid for some reason, so gave us a chance to fill the role if we need, or fill his spot if we needed to. Um, he ended up making Hugh Hungman quit the guild though. Hugh Hungman was going to fill in for Mascon. I think if we hadn't asked Hugh Hungman to fill in for Mascon that 1 week while he was gone, that he'd still be here as part of the team, and we liked him. So it's largely Mascon's fault that he chased him away. So now you're really the only druid, and so that's a big detriment. That's a lot of stress to me and the recruiting team to only have one of a very important raid buff. It also means that we have to put you in on every fight, which isn't great for us. Again, I mean you're okay, but uh, we want to have options. So don't scare away the next druid that comes along, please. We need redundancy on our raid buff, so you just can't scare away every druid that comes along. So for that reason, mask on your D tier. Uh, for making recruiting harder. Don't make our lives worse. Okay. Who's next? I think now we're getting into the the OGs, the people that were here since last tier, and can carry through the balance of this tier. So we will start with Remkos. Where is Remkos? Here he is. It's this guy. Somehow I know less about Rimcoast this tier than I did last tier, which is strange. Uh, there are no ice storms or anything like that for us to have meaningful conversations around this tier, so I didn't really get to talk to him much. He is loved here and appreciated. Uh, he gets all of our trinkets. If we did LFR as a group, we would give Remkos all of those trinkets. And then if we did normal and the same trinkets dropped, we'd give those to Remkos as well instead of anybody else. And then if we did heroic, we'd give him the same trinkets as well. And then if we did mythic, we'd give Remkos the same trinkets as well before anybody else. Remkos really collected all the trinkets before anybody else got a chance to. I didn't realize that. We were just giving him every trinket he wanted. He says that everything is a massive upgrade, and we believe him because every time we give him a new trinket, he outperforms everybody else. Very reliable. I did learn this tier. I don't know how I didn't learn this last tier. The Remco's a little bit of pad whore. Uh, Never really needed to bring it up because shit died. Ads do have to die, but Remco's will make sure that he is the person that kills them. Uh, I guess the only ding against Remcos is we're not sure if he'll be returning next year, so we all hope that he'll be here. You are our favorite hunter, one of our favorite DPS. Somehow you never get sat as a hunter, which is odd, but that's you've earned your spot. So Remcos normally S tier, but because we're in limbo right now, we're not sure if you're going to be here next year. You're A tier. You did a good job this tier, though. Really good job. Okay, next is Belagor. Bella is sort of similar to Remkos. I know less about them this tier than last. Bella also had some juicy details on one of the raiders that we lost last year, and he refused to tell anyone anything about it until well after the tier was over, which was very annoying. He only told Sour, and Sour refused to tell the rest of us, which was just a bad look. You gotta gossip, man. You can't hold stuff like that to yourself. Um, I guess the one thing that really came up this tier that wasn't really a thing that mattered too much last year is Bella refused to talk. I guess Bella probably refused to talk last year, but it never really mattered at all. And then when we got to Echo of Neltharion, uh, and we were supposed to spell ward them on the last set of hearts, or second to last set of hearts. I don't remember what it was in P1. Uh, Bella would just stand there and hope to get a spell warding and hope we figured it out ourselves. So much to the point that if someone didn't call it out within the first second and a half of hearts going out, I would or Myth would just ship it on Bella because we got to assume if no one's saying anything, it's got to be because of Bella. So Bella, you did a good job. You usually don't die. You're demon hunter, so you don't do much damage. That's not really your fault, but it kind of is at the same time because you picked that class. Find some macros or something uh, if you're supposed to talk so that you can communicate with your team in a quick and meaningful way. Belagor, you're reliable. I don't think you ever missed raid, but you don't talk, so you're C tier. Room to improve, even if you don't talk. So don't let this be. Don't let this get you down. I believe in you. All right, who's next? Mythboo. Mythboo, Jamie Lannister, the man. I guess the myth, literally. Smith, the man on the horse, running around all the time, trampling on all of his friends. He was somewhat reliable this tier. Sometimes he would show up late to raid at a moment's notice. Sometimes he would prefer to go get the meat sweats rather than play with us. He liked to rip aggro off me. Myth did a good job. Myth does a lot of damage as a tank. He had a lot of hard jobs to learn. Overall, Myth did a pretty good job of learning all those things. Um, the big strike against Myth is I wanted to have some diversity at the beginning of this tier in tanks, just because playing two of the same tank is usually not ideal, gives you less flexibility. But Myth said, no, I really want to play Paladin. And I said, well, Myth, I'm playing Paladin. And he said, well, you see, Paladin was meta last year, and I couldn't get into any keys and tank them last year because people didn't want to take me because I wasn't meta. So I'm going to assume that this tier, that the meta is going to be the same as last year. Has to be, right? It's never changed tier to tier. So I'm going to play Paladin so I can get into keys. Paladin wasn't meta. I don't think Myth ever tanked a key. I think at the beginning of the season, you remember, everyone remembers what happened. We have two tanks in the guild, and one of them was playing Ret in guild keys. So, Myth, you're usually a pleasure to have around. You you gaslit me into letting you play Paladin, but you played Monk when it really mattered. So that could ding you a little bit. So we'll put you're pretty middle of the pack here, Myth. You did a good job, but nothing exceptional. You know what I'm saying? So next time, be honest with yourself and me about what you want to play and why, and maybe we can improve in ranking. So Myth, you're C tier. Okay, who's next? G Quit. This is G Quit, the man who makes these pictures, which because he made the pictures, he's automatically going to gain one tier higher than he would have gotten. G Quit is one of the best healers that I've ever played with, raid healers that I've ever played with. Sorry, Kel, I'm saying raid healer specifically. Uh, don't get that twisted. G Quit is an incredible raid healer. There were times when it was G Quit and Kel against the world. So having him as part of the healing team for this tier was really nice. And we knew that we were in safe hands and that nothing was going to go wrong as long as it was like G Quit and Kel and Ghost and Creature couldn't go wrong, right? Healing would never be a problem. That is until G Quit got infatuated with Og Evoker for no reason and decided, you know what? I know I'm a good healer, but I'm not going to heal anymore. I want to be a dragon instead, which really threw a wrench in our plans. Uh, we went through probably 16 or 17 other holy priests while you were being an evoker and while you were gone for a little bit. And none of them knew how to press mass dispel at the right time. None of them knew how to press power infusion at the right time. Uh, but you are a pleasure to be around again. So that gets you another tier above where you would normally be. So we'll take all those things into account that you really threw the healing team a wrench in the healing team, but you made all these pictures that people are going to love, and you're awesome, and you draw really well. So G Quit, you are swamp tier, but good job. Plenty of room to improve from there. Uh, yeah, great job. All right, who's next? Looks like it's Vontae's. Vaughn is a very interesting guy. Again, he's my guy, right? He's the one who got me back into the guild, or into the guild to form the guild, but back with him. Um, he's the most vocal of the leadership, uh, whether it be very aggressively or not very aggressively. Most of the time, very aggressively. He's very reliable. He doesn't miss raid for ultimate frisbee anymore, or frisbee golf. I don't remember which it is. Something to do with frisbees. He doesn't miss raid because of it anymore. He's not late because of it anymore, because he decided he wanted to do this. He wanted to be here for you guys. Vaughn started the tier as an enhancement shaman. And then I remember one day we're progging Mythic Rashok, and Vaughn got the ultimate high roll on all of his damage. And he was like, fifth on the beaters. And he was like, that's the best I'm ever going to do. Uh, and I think when he said that out loud, something clicked with him and he realized he was being an idiot and that he should probably just be a Death Knight again. Vaughn is, to me, the ultimate Death Knight. He takes credit for all the things that other people do. Instead, like his gargoyle's the one that actually does the damage. He gets buffed by the evokers. He gets power infusion, but he says, "Look at me, I'm a badass." So that's really quintessential Death Knight behavior. Uh, on a better note, Vaughn has been the one that has helped me with recruiting, helped me make tough decisions. Uh, so it's I really do appreciate him, and he's one of my best friends here in the game. So I really appreciate it, Vaughn. Because of that, you're elevated a little bit this tier. Uh, you have ascended from the swamp. So watch, pay attention, G Quit. You can get out of swamp tier. Vontaze, you are S tier for doing so much damage that's not actually yours and being a good friend. Okay, next. Ghost. Our friend Ghost. You guys might remember this picture. You might remember this time. Um, there's probably going to be a test implemented for people that play ranged going forward when we recruit them because of Ghost. Uh, it's a pretty simple test. There's just going to be an X on a piece of paper, and then the range player, what they're going to have to do is we're going to ask them to draw another X on that same piece of paper as close to the X that was already there, right? Uh, and we'll see how well they do because you guys made her really mad on a lot of fights because you didn't understand how to stack. But Ghost has been really invaluable this tier in being passive aggressive if I put her cooldowns at the wrong spot. But I always changed it. I fixed it for her once I understood what the problem was. Can't put someone else's AM with a daybreak. That I learned that. I'm sorry, I don't know. Ask your healing officer if he wants to do the cooldowns next time. I don't know. But you are an awesome healer. You you crank, you're reliable. Uh you usually don't die. Uh the only ding really that I have against you, and I don't want, please don't threaten me after I publish this. Don't get mad at me. It's hopefully the last time anyone brings it up. Probably won't be, but hopefully it's the last time anyone says anything. But Ghost, the volcanic heart weaker thing. I don't have to go on. Ghost, that brings you down one tier. So Ghost, you're B tier, which is good. B is good. B's better than all these guys down here, and as good as Chi Chi. All right, we're getting down there. We've only got a handful more left. So I'm going to close this. Who is next? Looks like it's McClunky's turn. The Clunkster. McClunky is I'll probably do Galabon right after this. I know that they're like two sides of the same coin. Both guys that well, McClunky specifically was pretty quiet last year. I believe we recruited both him and Galabon during Diurna. So they did Diurna Prog with us, and then Raszageth Prog. And you're really quiet, didn't say a whole lot. We didn't really know much about you guys. And then you kind of let the weirdness out, like a lot. You did a lot of bro kissing last year, and I think that earned you a D tier because it weirded me out because that's all you really said. But you took it to new bizarre levels this tier, and I'm not sure. I think I appreciate it. I think most people appreciate it. I think some of the new people probably think you're basically. I don't want you to be the impression that the for people's first impression for new trials, right? Or they're going to leave. But you've been awesome. You've been here more or less every raid for the whole tier. Never complain if you had to get sat because two warriors weren't always ideal on fights. You got it. You understood. You were always ready to go. You're a pleasure to have in the guild. And this, I brought this up recently-ish, maybe during the awards thing, but I did want to reiterate it here. There are a couple times this tier where you just took a couple mechanics under your wing and called them out. I appreciate anybody that does that because raid leading and tanking on tank heavy damage fights is pretty stressful and hard to do. So the one that comes to mind most is the experiments, the spells. There are a couple others, but that was the biggest one. And that was a massive help. I think as soon as you did that, the fight really started clicking for everybody. Uh, so McClunky, we appreciate your humor, your hard work, your veiled threats against Vaughn's livelihood or life. We appreciate all that. So you are your S tier, McClunky. Okay, who's next? Gallabon. Gallabon. I think that makes sense to do Gallabon back to back. Oh, he's over here now. Hold on, Gallabon. Gallabon still waiting on his sword. Gallabon, I really appreciated when I came to you and McClunky when I was going through our Sark logs about a month through, and I asked you both independently, hey, can you play arms? We don't need two Fury Warriors. I know that you'll do less overall damage, but we need boss damage. And McClunky said, I play Fury Warrior. So I blocked him. Gallabon said, I don't know really how to play arms, but I'll figure it out. And he did. He did a great job. At first, I thought it was a giant mistake because he was doing no damage during the right after he'd swapped. But then I remembered that all of his damage is backloaded in the execute phase. When we did finally kill the boss, Gallabon, you slapped. Gallabon, you have a truly amazing accent, and very similar to McClunky. You're a fucking weirdo, and we didn't know that, but now we do, and I think we love you more for it. So, Biss accent, likes penguins, doesn't miss raid, plays arms. Gallabon, you did a great job this tier. Uh, love having you around too. Gallabon, you are S tier. Okay, let's do creature. Creature, 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 creature. Where is he? Here we go. Creature. This is our guy. The beacon of heckin' awesomeness. He doesn't swear, but uses replacements for the swear words as if that makes it better, as if the intent's not there still, as if those other words have magic meaning behind them. But he's always happy, always trying to lift people's spirits up, committed to healing this tier after he healed Razageth as his first boss ever, really, that he'd healed. I think just didn't. I didn't think you missed any raids until after we'd killed. You did a good job. You did a really good job this tier. I'm really proud of what you did for your first time healing. Um, but hopefully, we never have to have you heal again because I think we've got new healers coming in. So you can do whatever you want now. If you do want to heal, it's fine. We can get rid of G Quit or Ghost or Kel. But have fun doing range DPS this tier. Love having you here. I love having you and Vaughn as my friends. And none of this would be happening if it weren't for you. So, creature, you are A tier. All right. We've got one, two, six more. Six more. Six more. All right. We'll do the best one real quick. This is Goif, your fearless raid leader. The Promiser of Meatball Subs. Goif did an okay job this tier. Sometimes overreacts a little bit when people say things and gets mad. Walks it back usually and apologizes. Goif lost threat times when he probably should not have, and it caused wipes. He's very handsome though, very calm, makes the raid an enjoyable place for everybody. Doesn't afraid of anything. So for that, Goif, you're B tier. Janchi. Janchi. My God. You are, I guess, sort of in the same spot as McClunky and Galabon in the respects that you were here for all of last year, minus what was the first boss of Vault? You didn't want to kill that with us for some reason, but I think you killed all the other bosses with us on Prague. Super reliable. You stepped up and said, "Yeah, I'll play Evoker since we don't have one on the roster anymore." You ended up having fun with it. You really liked Dev, and then when Og came out, you were willing to learn it when we needed it, when it was good, even though it might not have been your preference. You did a great job this tier. Um, you let Neltharion tilt the ever loving fuck out of you though. Uh, I had never heard someone so mad at a boss before. You were you were threatening people. You were gonna go to their house. You're gonna hurt them. You're gonna quit the guild. You were gonna report the guild. You're gonna have sex with people's wives. You name it. You were so mad. You just wanted to tear the whole thing down. So you did a good job this year, and we really appreciate you. Um, but don't tilt so hard, buddy. It's okay. We'll be all right. Janchi, you are B tier. All right. Perry. Perry, Mr. Linux, Mr. My note doesn't work, and I have a bug that no one has ever encountered before. Perry has very inventive ways of dying on raid, and usually is unwilling to just let it sit at my bad. He won't just say my bad, go next. There will be an elaborate plot as to why he would have, as to why he died. Like a turkey flew past my window and it distracted me, so I looked to see what it was. And while I was looking, my wife walked in and unplugged my keyboard. Things like that. I think that specific scenario happened on um which boss was it? Magmarax. Yeah, you died to Magmarax due to that. So uh it's okay if you die and just say my bad. That'll be okay in the future if you do that. Uh Perry's loyal, Perry loves it here. Perry plays through pain at times like an NFL player, but Perry, if you die, just say my bad. Perry, you're a D tier. Four more. Sour. Sour DH. Our friendly giant. We finally got to see him just a couple days ago on camera and verify that he is in fact 6'10". He stood up and accidentally hit his head on the ceiling. Much like Belagor, Sour doesn't do a lot of damage because he's a demon hunter and not very good at the game. But Sour is super dependable. Sour will gladly do any mechanic that needs done. When other people say, when I ask for volunteers and no one speaks up, Sour's always the one that says, "I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it." I think on our kill, Sour went and grabbed a bomb. when Chi Chi couldn't grab it. I didn't have to tell him to do that. He just did it himself. So, really good job there. Finally got his bomb dispenser. Sour, if you could do a little bit more damage, that would be good. And you will go up tiers. But I can't put you S tier again, or you're going to think that it's okay to be tied with Belagor in damage. Can't have that. You know what I'm saying? So, Sour, you're B tier. But consider this like a performance improvement plan. I know that you can climb ranks as long as you put in just a little bit of work. But love having you around. An OG, just like Remkos and Myth. You've been here since before the guild stepped foot into Mythic rating. So we genuinely appreciate all three of you. Okay, three more. Let's do musings. Musings. Retired at the end of last year, and then decided that actually I do want to play the game while we were on Rashok Prague. So I said, okay, all right, that's fair. We like you. You're a good player. You come back in. He came in and killed Rashok, killed Magmarax. We're working on Nelthair, and he said, you know what? I really, really appreciate and like playing with you guys. I'm glad that you let me do two bosses with you. I know my passion. My passion is raiding with Oh No. So he went to go play with Oh No, and then he came back and said, no, I love Skate better. That's where I want to raid. After he got CE for free and a 450 weapon. I think they paid for his subscription for 6 months as well. So he kind of hosed that guild, right? So he felt bad about that. He had some time to reflect on it because he was gone for 3 weeks while we did Zarkareth. I think he was in Belize. I'm not sure what he was doing. And during his time in Belize on the beaches, I think there are beaches in Belize, Musings decided that his actual passion in the game was raiding with Oh No. His 48 hours there really left an impression on him. So he has since moved on back to Oh No. But Musings, let me tell you, for the 2.5 bosses you helped us with, it was a pleasure having you here. Um, but there's like a multiplier on the number of bosses you could have done versus the number of bosses you did that negatively affects your tier. So Musings, you're swamped here. Two more are close. Are close. You have been awesome. You came out of left field last tier, started helping with everything, and then you doubled down on it this tier, took over when I couldn't do stuff, yada yada. You know, we've been through all this before. We really appreciate you. The thing that some of you might not realize if you don't watch Arclos's stream or use it to go watch POVs is he calls you guys a bunch of bad names while he's muted when you guys do stupid stuff. So uh, that is kind of fucked up to be so two-faced, but I understand it. Uh, your mad bell energy rushing through you or whatever warlock shit is going on with you. But you're a good guy. You got a promotion to officer. So I like having another rational, sane voice in the group, in the room. Keep on keeping on. Uh, you didn't do anything really to rank yourself down because I remember you called people names on during last year too. So I won't ding you too much for that. You're S tier. Okay, last, but certainly not least, Kel Cutie. Kel was a shaman. He said he'd play whatever we needed, whatever was best. Turns out that was not true. Uh, if we needed a shaman, Kel said, I'm not playing shaman. I hate it so much. Uh, we only ever got to hear about how much Kel wanted a beacon until he finally got it, but that was Every other word that came out of his mouth was beacon. His kid's first word is probably going to be beacon or damage. Kel, you're fun to play Mythic Plus Keystones with. I am glad that I've had the pleasure of doing them with you for so long. I'm glad that you're here in the raid. You do a lot of healing, you do a lot of damage, but when you're tired, everybody knows it on repeat for 3 hours. I'm glad you got your beacon. I sort of wanted to give you the mythic one that dropped to make Whispers mad. Um, but we needed to make sure that you had that drive to keep coming back to raid because that beacon is your one true love in this world. Kel, we should talk about healing cooldowns and who does those at some point. You are you're good to have, but you need to tiene menos sueño. Kel, you are C tier. Okay, there we go. C tier. All right. Well, that's the tier list. I hope I offended half of you, at least. GG's.